right, I have an overabundance of eggs. What am I going to do with all these eggs? I cannot fit them in my fridge. I have no more uses for them. We can dehydrate them, and we can shrink all of this down into a teeny tiny little space that will last on the shelf for years and years and years, like 15 to 25 years. So if you vacuum seal it and put a little moisture thing in there. So this is really easy to do. I'll take you along with me to show you how to do it, especially in the spring. For those who have their own chickens, you have lots and lots and lots of eggs. If you want to put something up to have in case of an emergency that you can whip up really quick and easy. Of course, if you have chickens, you usually have eggs year round, but you never know if you might have them. It is possible to lose the whole flock to a flu or a sickness and be in a pinch. So it's good to do, it's good to have on the shelf, and it's so easy, why not do it? Let's do it. First thing we're going to want to do is get to work cracking these eggs, because we're going to scramble them. In order to properly dehydrate, they have to be properly mixed. So we're just going to get cracking. Might be a little minute. So here's a little tip or trick. If you get an eggshell in the in your yolk, in your eggs, either wet your fingers and then you can reach in and pinch it without it running away from you, or take one of the shells and scoop it out and it won't run away. So just a little tip to make it easy to catch those shells when they get away from you. Once you crack your eggs, and I'm gonna have to do this in batches because I have too many, you need to mix them really thoroughly. Now you can do this with, you can do it by hand, but man, that's gonna be a lot of work. You can do it with a little cake mixer, which works really well, or you can do it in the blender. I like doing it in the blender because it's already easy to pour. Once it's blended, I can pour it right into my dehydrator trays. We don't want to froth it up too much, but you just want to make sure everything is well mixed. Once your eggs are mixed, you're going to need to put them into a dehydrator tray. Obviously, you have to have them on a flat surface. So if your dehydrator comes with trays, or you can get trays, that's going to work great. If you don't, and you have a square dehydrator, you can use just some old cheap baking trays. And if they're too long, you can kind of bend the edges down. You can even use Tupperware, anything to hold it in there so that it can dry. Make sure that your trays are on a flat surface when you pour it out, because it will run out of your tray very easily. And we just want to do a thin layer. And we're going to pop that into the dehydrator. All right, we're going to dehydrate. Time doesn't really matter. It really doesn't take them that long. It depends on how thick you put it in there though. So some might just take 4 hours, some might take 10 hours. Depends on how thick you did it. So you just watch to see when it's totally dry. The more important thing is that you want to dehydrate them at 145. And go. All right, I'll show you what it should look like. See, this is what it should look like right here. If you have spots that are dark, like back there, that means it's not completely dry yet. So, see, like this one is mostly dry, but there's some spots that are not. You cannot over dry it, but you can only under dry it. So just let it go. Let it go till all the spots are dry. If those spots are a little deep, you can just turn them over, help them dry quicker. We're gonna let it go. All right, so this is what it should look like. This is what it should sound like. It should be completely dry, crispy. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna collect all of these shattered little pieces. We're going to put them into a blender. And so what we want to do is once we have it broken up into tiny little pieces in the blender, we want to put it back on the tray. Spread it out again, put it back in the dehydrator for another hour or two, and that's just to make absolutely sure that there is no moisture in it. You could put it up at this point, but if you make sure that everything is dry, which little tiny pieces like this will dry out really quickly, then you're gonna get a good 15-25 year shelf life. So I'd rather do that than run the chance of having it go bad. All right, you can store it like this. It's gonna be kind of like granules, but I like to make it a more fine powder. So when you take it out a second time, if you'll put it in a spice blender, grinder, coffee grinder, or like a smoothie thing and blend it in that, it's gonna give you a fine powder like this. And the only real difference, you get it drier like this and it will rehydrate quicker. But it's okay if you don't have that. You can store it like this and it will last. So as you can see, we have, I'm gonna give you kind of an up close so you can see how powdered we are. This one didn't fully fill the jar. We ended up with 2 whole jars sealed and one about 2/3 of the way. This was a little over 200 eggs. At current prices at the end of 2024, which is where we are when I filmed this, to purchase this from the store or order it online would have cost you over $200. It cost me under $25 to make it. So it takes a little bit of time, really not a whole lot of effort, but definitely worth it for the price difference. And this is great to have on hand. Why? Because eggs are just about the most perfect food, if not the most perfect food you can have. Every single nutrient that you need to thrive, not just survive, but thrive, is found in eggs with the exception of vitamin C, which is readily available in a lot of things. So it's not something that's hard to come by. So a little bit of garden greens and eggs and you will be very healthy. Eggs also have things that are very strong immune system boosters and very strong at deactivating a lot of sicknesses, including spike protein, which is lysine. So this is something really, really good to have, and it's really lightweight, so it's good for a grab-and-go bag as well, and it doesn't take a lot of heat or energy to cook up. Add a little water, stir it in, scramble it. The way you're gonna rehydrate this is you're gonna take 1 tablespoon of powder to 2 tablespoons of water. Little less if you want it to be a little bit richer, but either way it'll work. Mix it together, let it sit for a good 10 minutes so that it can reabsorb all of the water, and then scramble it up and it's gonna cook just like scrambled eggs. You can also use this in baking for your baked goods, for things that call for eggs in your recipe. You can either put the powder straight in and the water and just bake it like that, or you can rehydrate it first and then add it to it. And you can also use this to make pasta. So easy. It's okay, you already ruined it. It's all right. It'll be in the blooper reel.
Okay. You look cute.
Thank you.